Parkour! Michael, parkour! Parkour! Extreme! Parkour! Parkour!
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch once again. Kind of a part 2 of my Dev Chat series. Yesterday was Dev Chat 67 with Zizaran, and today is Dev Chat 68 with Steelmage. Yesterday Steelmage was able to host the Last Epoch crew, including Judd, the game creator, Mike, and Stans, who are senior developers. And lots of great questions were asked and even better answers were given. So for this video, I'm going to break down, in my opinion, the best questions and answered, and everything will be timestamped in the description if you want to bounce around. Now, in case you are new to the channel, you are new to Last Epoch. My name is Aaron, and I post a video every single day, and 2 to 3 of those videos every week are on Last Epoch. Right now, if you're thinking about playing the game, if you're thinking about starting it for the first time, in the description I have over 18 viable build guides for 085F, which is the current iteration of the game. So if you want to play and you want to follow a guide, you might find something down there that you like. You could also go to my Twitch, because I stream 3 days a week Last Epoch, or you can go over to my YouTube channel, and on the homepage is a playlist that has all those builds available. So check them out. That's all I've got. Steelmage, take it away.
But obviously people are really curious about trade. So is there like, I guess we'll just go over the answer from yesterday. So like, what are the plans for trade?
Yeah, we know that people are anxiously awaiting information on trade. It has huge implications in games like this. We won't be unveiling our updated plans for trade today, but I will say that our first trial of trade is going into the CT build to gather feedback on here within about the next week or so. I will say that our main goal with trade has always been to ensure that it does not become the main or always best way to obtain gear upgrades and sidestep the item hunt and crafting system that we've poured a lot of love into. So that's the main goals, and we have a trial for what this will be. Hopefully we get good feedback on this coming out in the near future for our CT program.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think you were mentioning, like, something we talked about before, and you don't really want to promise things about trade system before you've actually had a chance to test it, try it, get good player feedback. So we definitely want to make sure we do that this time around.
He really liked the fracture system because it had this really high risk, high reward outcome, where if you kept crafting, you could destroy your gear or brick your gear. And he was wondering if there's plans for more stuff like that. Think maybe like Varlobs and PoE, some sort of final extra stage of high risk, high reward crafting.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that yesterday. I think we were when we were answering about what we like about our directed crafting and like mixing that with some of the additional things we added, like the legendary system. Risk and reward is something we do want to stack back in the end game, because we do believe we have a really great foundation for getting yourself a set of gear that you need or can use to make a build viable. So pushing it to the next level, we are very interested in exploring more risk and reward in the future.
Yeah, it adds this like extra depth that I really like. Definitely very good.
Yeah, I think it would go really well as a possible dungeon reward.
True, it would, wouldn't it? Yeah. You just slap it in, right? Like the Corruption Forge or something.
Right. So
Yeah.
we have a comprehensive marketing plan going into the 1.0 version of the game. 0.9 is going to be a soft launch for multiplayer, and we don't want to put a ton of marketing effort and spend towards 0.9 because there's going to be bugs, there's going to be things that we need to figure out. There's been studios much larger with much more experience than us to have issues on release of a server authoritative multiplayer game. So we expect there to be a little bit of turbulence right there at the beginning, stuff that we'll react to quickly. But we do have a comprehensive marketing plan going into 1.0. I can give a few details there because we do have some fairly exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we're working with an agency called Buddha Jones, who are incredibly talented, very cool people. They made trailers for lots of games and movies, including things like The Mandalorian, a bunch of Marvel and DC movies. countless games. They've done things for like Dark Alliance, Age of Empires, etc., etc. So we're working with them for the 1.0 release trailer of the game. Very excited about that. We are working on quite a few larger video content pieces than we ever have before, and so we're working on a lot of like 2.5D cutscenes. We might have a short CGI trailer that actually comes out before the 1.0 release trailer. We're staffing up the marketing and support team right now. We're spinning up a Discord for content creators to share information with them, as soon as we're able to. We've got all the traditional social marketing stuff that you would suspect from any type of marketing campaign. Of course, that'll be rolled in. Then a core of our marketing has always been to just continue to interact with the community on a personal basis. There's no better way to market than actually having people go in and enjoy the game that you're creating, and then tell others that the game is good. We like the people creating it, and so we'll be doing more stuff like this and continue just to engage with the community.
Yeah, I know one of the questions on this list was actually about cutscenes, because I know in Diablo those cutscenes were so I love those cutscenes. Actually, this is a funny throwback to yesterday. As the main campaign, so Garlisle Wilds asks, as the main campaign continues to extend, will Monolith change to be only accessible later, or do you like players being able to jump right into it like Zizarin, early if the character is ready and skipping the campaign? If it is going to stay the way it is now, are there plans around the campaign content to make it valuable in its own right? So I assume that's like passives and stuff like that, like quest rewards.
Totally. Our exact decisions there aren't fully finalized. The Monolith is intended to be accessible at the end of the campaign, but we're kind of keeping a close eye on the amount of grind that's necessary for creating alts. So right now, plans aren't final. We're aware of how it works right now, and we kind of are trying to understand how that's been integrated into overall player behavior.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of would be good to be able to skip it in a way if you were going to incorporate dungeons as an alternate leveling, right?
Right, and that's one of the things that we kind of have to, when we have more dungeons, right now, we're still making a number more of them, and when we have more of those skips, more of that progression through the campaign, it's going to change how we think about this as well.
Yeah.
For us, I mean, the original decision was because we wanted to make sure people had access to content right away because we were still making the campaign. I mean, we still are making the campaign, so that was important for us at the time.
It's about Twitch extension, actually. But I assume this fades into the whole API thing, right? Are there plans to have an API like that for Last Epoch? So you can see gear and all that kind of stuff in game? Or on Twitch or whatever?
We're definitely we're exploring to build an API. Anyone, our questions, if there's any engineers in chat, you're aware of the actual challenge behind building an API. It's something we want to do. We want to provide that kind of level of service to players. So yes, we are exploring it at the moment. There's no word on when we get it out. I would certainly say don't expect a full API at 1.0, but we are looking at it almost immediately.
Is there any plans for preventing player power spiraling out of control and ending up with ridiculous, numbers on gear? So just generic power creep question.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great one. I've actually talked to Chris about it because, it's, when you look back on 10 years of something you've made, and, you try to make as many good decisions as you can, but 10 years of changes and additions can be really challenging to maintain. An advantage for us is we've had the learning lessons of watching other games, similar to us, in this new era where, it's almost a service-based game that goes on for a long time. And for us, we definitely want to avoid kind of boosting achievable player power so extensively. We don't plan for post-launch changes that will affect player power as drastically as the introduction of exalted or legendary items. There'll still be power increases because we're going to be adding new mechanics, and as we balance changes. Another thing that we see with the increase of power is we've gotten better at synergy between different skills in the skill trees, which naturally tends to increase some of the power of builds. The nice thing there is we can make major adjustments to an individual skill's power without impacting the rest of the game. So we plan to kind of avoid all of it by having a big impact on the power of players relative to monsters, by continuously and gradually increasing monster power, this is something we've already been doing the past few patches. It kind of avoids the need for like a single patch that makes the game more difficult. We're definitely going to be taking a careful and iterative approach to it, and we've had the advantage of learning the lessons from other games like us.
Chat's asking about leaderboards. So obviously, a big part about going from single player to multiplayer, specifically in terms of server authority, is that those arena leaderboards are now going to be very secure, right? So
Who are you?
Correct.
that's going to be very good. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, for sure. That we're really excited for that. I do love to see those, and you know, we're well aware. Like we watched the ladders the entire lifespan of Last Epoch. You know, we can tell when there's a cheater. We can tell when people are cheating, but you know, it looks like they're not. We see all those instances, but when it's fully online, fully authoritative, yeah, we have a lot more control right up front from it, and we'll have the ability to actually view player behaviors if we're finding any other kind of exploits. So we're super excited to be able to provide a leaderboard that we can trust as a real competitive experience. So we're super stoked to get that back.
Yeah, I think there was another question as well asking about the possibility of other kinds of leaderboards. So I know you guys like events, which is really cool, like community events, and maybe you guys run your own like sort of races and stuff like that. But outside of that, assuming you're continuing to support that, are there plans maybe to have campaign leaderboards or maybe boss leaderboards or anything like that?
Can I leak-ish, or what we've been thinking about?
Yeah, what we've been thinking about. There's nothing set in stone yet.
Nothing set in stone.
Definitely lots of conversations happening. But Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, we me myself personally, I've always loved non-traditional achievements. You know, I love to do things that are, say, not standard or really bizarre. You know, I love things like the insane achievement in WoW, or like some of the really, you know, bizarre, unnecessary ones. It's something we want to explore. We'd love to add leaderboards for things that are non-traditional and don't pertain to simply just being the highest skill, fastest, longest playing player. So we are exploring it. Like Judd said, there's no plans yet, but there's a bunch of us who love those kind of leaderboards and achievements, and it's something we want to think a lot about.
That's so cool. I was not expecting a yes or a maybe. What's the plan for more outdated skills that are not being used? It gives examples like Tempest Strike, Summon Bear, and Ice Thorns, etc.
For sure. Plans for Tempest Strike are uncertain at the moment. There's a prototype of it as a much higher power, higher cost skill that feels good. But the rest of the selection for Primalist would need to be adapted to account for what we feel Tempest Strike delivers. For Summon Bear, it's very clear it will receive a new model and a skill tree. Ice Thorns is going to be replaced. It was almost removed in one of our prior patches, but we ultimately felt... Yeah. And we ultimately felt that just we needed to keep it for the time being until we had another solution. For outdated skills, we tend to certainly target those as the highest need for improvements. The things that look the worst, definitely critical to us. Things that perform bad from a balance standpoint does matter as well. We'll have better data on those kind of things as we're actually online and can kind of, you know, see those things a bit better.
Oh, this guy's asking about cutscenes. Well, yeah, they already mentioned that. Maybe some
we have a number of cutscenes being developed right now that you guys will experience throughout the campaign, oftentimes at the start or the end of chapters. But yeah, we have quite a few of them coming along. Really excited about getting those to everyone, and those won't be in 0.9, but we're hoping to have those in the game by 1.0.
That'd be awesome. I'm a cutscene enjoyer.
It's gonna help a lot for just getting the storyline across and getting people immersed in it. I think it'll help a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of presentational elements to the story being improved right now. A lot of the chapter content that was developed in the game was done early on when we were a much smaller studio, way less resources. We now have a new world and story lead. We have all the dialogue being rewritten. We have NPC portraits. We're having custom NPCs being developed for all of the major characters. Voice acting across the game. If you look at the latest chapter that we have in the game, we call it Chapter H internally, but it's the one, well, I won't spoil it in case somebody's not gotten there. But if you look at the latest, there you go. Yes. But if you look at that would be our, we want that, every chapter that we go back and retouch for it to be at least that level of quality.
Yeah, it'd be sick. Here we go. Hex Ability asks, any plans on making XP useful after 100? I keep suggesting converting XP into something useful, like crafting materials, adding on LP or something else, just keeping XP relevant.
We have some plans, and we've definitely seen some really good suggestions from the community. I don't know if I've seen exactly what I think the front runner is right now, but yeah,
we actually do have an answer for this, but it's not time to unveil that just yet.
Fair play.
Yeah,
but yes, we will have a reason to continue.
I will admit, I was playing my 100 before we did this, and the XP bar not really doing anything is a bit... I mean, this is a big problem in PoE as well. The only difference is in PoE you never hit 100 pretty much because it takes forever. But when you do, it's like, yeah, you do have that problem in PoE.
That 95 to 100 stretch of experience is, we are definitely looking at elongating that a little bit as well, because the relative power you're getting from levels at that stage is so small compared to the relative power you get at earlier levels, that it's less important to even hit 100, and it's more of an achievement than a requirement for a build.
I remember a thread about this. I think there was one about death penalty as well. And people are very like, how do I put this? It's a hard sell to say you're making the grind a little bit longer, isn't it? It's not going to be that bad, I imagine, but...
No.
So I just noticed, and I know you covered this yesterday, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Who's casting the ice? Is that you, Judd?
It is, yes.
It's really hard to see the ground with the ice everywhere. So, is there plans to do something about party play, visual effects and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that we answered yesterday as well. Visual clarity on the screen, very, very important to us. Now that we actually have multiplayer up and we're testing this, we're implementing new systems so that we can have certain portions of the effect appear on the client screen and not everybody else's screen. For example, I typically play a Meteor build because I just absolutely love Meteor. We found that the targeting reticles on the ground are they are too visually obscuring for the other players in the party, so we're going to make it so the targeting reticles aren't visible by the party. And then we're also looking at just all the skills in general, and if they are obscuring the screen too much, we will reduce them as needed. Very much on top of that one, though. And I can absolutely see how Glacier is a little noisy right now.
Only when you cast it repeatedly on top of the boss when he's channeling all of his abilities, you know.
Yep.
Not ideal, yeah.
I see what you're trying to do there.